Earth holds many mysteries, with new discoveries being made every day by day. A major portion of these unexplored areas are our oceans. We have only explored about 5% of the ocean compared to our land. In that case, Pacific Ocean hid a continent for millions of years. You might think of a continent as large landmass with plants and animals that lived above the sea. However, in this video, we are going to see a continent under the ocean called Zealandia, which is located below present day of New Zealand. So get ready to know Earth's hidden continent, Zealandia. Over 250 million years ago, all continents were grouped together in a supercontinent called Pangaea. Due to tectonic plate movement, Pangaea split into two continents, Laurasia and Gondwana. Laurasia includes the northern hemisphere continents like North America, Europe and Asia. Although India is now in northern hemisphere, it was located near Africa in Gondwana continent at that time, so it wasn't a part of Laurasia. Gondwana comprised the southern hemisphere continents like South America, Africa, Australia, Antarctica and Zealandia. During that time, Zealandia was attached to Australia and Antarctica. About 140 million years ago, the supercontinent split apart again. This time, instead of splitting into two large landmasses, they fragmented into many pieces. That leads to formation of present individual continents and islands. Around 100 million years ago, Zealandia separated from Antarctica, and about 70 million years ago, it splitted apart from Australia. This is how Zealandia became an independent island continent. However, it didn't remain above water for long. Soon after it settled in southern hemisphere, its continental crust began to collapse. That leads to submersion of nearly 94% of Zealandia around 25 million years ago. What we are seeing now as New Zealand is only 6% of the continent Zealandia. The reason why Zealandia sank is not entirely clear, but there are two main theories. The first theory suggests that every time Zealandia detached from other continents, its continental crust weakened. That leads to domination of oceanic crust over the continental crust. Eventually, the weakened continental crust could not hold for a long time and sank. The second theory says that Zealandia was located between two tectonic plates, with one off on Australian plate and the other off on Pacific plate. This positioning caused tectonic force to stretch and thin Zealandia's crust, contributing to its submersion. In the end, only New Zealand and few nearby islands remain above the water, while the rest of Zealandia was submerged. Zealandia lies about 2 kilometers underwater, which is relatively shallow compared to the average ocean's depth. That's why it took millions of years to discover it. While moving on to discovery of Zealandia, the first person to suggest the existence of southern continent was Dutch sea explorer Abel Tasman. He believed that there must be a hidden continent in the southern hemisphere to balance the landmass of the northern hemisphere. In 1642, he set sail with two small ships to discover this continent. Eventually, he reached South Island of New Zealand. However, the indigenous people did not allow intruders to set foot on their land. Tasman tried to land for almost 2 days, but the people were hostile and killed 4 of his men. Consequently, Tasman returned home without even landing on New Zealand. This was the first recorded attempt to explore the mysterious eighth continent. In 1995, researchers studying the ocean's floor around New Zealand and discovered that there was a continental crust surrounding the islands. American geophysicist Bruce Lewandowski described the region as continent and named it as Zealandia. Meanwhile, the United Nations Convention on Law of the Sea stated that if New Zealand could prove it was a part of Zealandia, it could extend its territory. However, with the technology available at the time, researchers could only obtain rock samples, which were insufficient to prove Zealandia's status as continent. As a result, they were unable to extend New Zealand's territory based on evidence. Finally, in 2017, a group of 11 scientists from New Zealand, Australia and New Caledonia confirmed that Zealandia is a continent. It meets all the criteria for a continent, including being more than 1 million square kilometers in size and being isolated from other continents. Also, it contains all three types of rocks. And in 2023, its map was fully drawn with the help of satellites, revealing that Zealandia had land mass of 4.9 million square kilometers. We still don't know much about animals and plants that lived in Zealandia. Since it lies about 2 kilometers underwater, exploring Zealandia is challenging. However, dinosaurs fossil found in New Zealand suggest that dinosaurs once lived on Zealandia before going extinction. By today, Zealandia might not be a place for land animals to live, but aquatic plants and animals still living in Zealandia. Let's hope it will further discovered in upcoming days, and this is all about the hidden continent, Zealandia. If you find this video interesting, please support by subscribing our channel, and thank you for watching.